My mother stood in front of 50 people at my sister's engagement party and asked me if I fished my dress out of a dumpster. The room went quiet for half a second. Then everyone laughed. "Seriously, honey," she said louder this time. "Did you at least wash it first?" My future sister-in-law covered her mouth, but I could see her shoulders shaking. My brother filmed the whole thing on his phone. The dress was navy silk with a fitted bodice and a T-length skirt. I'd bought it at a thrift store 2 weeks earlier for $20. I loved it. The hired stylist was standing near the champagne table. She walked over, squinted at the label, and went pale. She leaned in close. "Vintage Dior," she whispered. The laughter stopped. "Want to know what a $20 thrift find taught my family about respect and cost? Drop your city and the time where you are, and hit like if you've ever been completely underestimated." That dress was just the beginning of what they didn't know. I grew up as the budget kid in a family that worshipped status. My mother wore designer labels to the grocery store. My brother drove a leased BMW in high school. My sister's 16th birthday had a red carpet. Me? I got hand-me-downs and lectures about being grateful. When I was 12, my grandmother moved in with us. She'd been a seamstress in Paris in the 50s, working in a couture atelier before she emigrated. While my siblings were at the mall, she taught me how to read fabric, how to spot hand-stitching, how to feel the weight of real silk versus polyester. We'd sit at her sewing table by candlelight, and she'd hold up scraps of old Chanel and Balenciaga she'd saved from the workroom floor. "Value isn't loud," she'd say. "It just is." When I was 14, I found a Chanel scarf at a yard sale for $3. I was so proud. I showed my mother. She threw it away. Called it gaudy. Grandmother died when I was 19. She left me her sewing kit and one piece of advice: keep records. Proof matters. So I did. I started haunting estate sales, thrift bins, church donations. I kept a 3-ring binder. Every receipt, every authentication note, every piece of research on provenance and condition. My family thought I was hoarding junk. I worked as a museum archivist. Decent job. Quiet life. They assumed I was barely scraping by. I never corrected them. They had no idea what hung in my closet, and I liked it that way, until they pushed too far. 3 days after the engagement party, my mother texted me, "Brunch tomorrow, important, don't be late." I showed up. My sister was already there. My mother didn't waste time. "We need to talk about the wedding," she said. "Okay. You can't dress like that again." It was embarrassing. I blinked. The stylist said, "She was being polite." My mother cut me off. "You looked ridiculous." My sister nodded. Grandmother's taste died with her. "We can't have you embarrassing us in the wedding photos." My mother slid an envelope across the table. "We're offering you $5,000 as a wedding gift. You can buy something appropriate, something new. We'll even go shopping with you." I opened the envelope. Inside was a photo release form. It gave them veto power over my outfit and my social media posts for the entire wedding weekend. "If you don't sign," my sister said, "we'll seat you in the back. And you won't be in any family pictures." I looked at my mother. She didn't blink. "This is for your own good, honey. You don't have our eye for these things." I stood up. "I'm not signing that." My mother's expression went cold. "Then maybe you shouldn't come at all." I left $20 on the table for my coffee and walked out. That night, my brother texted me, "Mom's talking to the lawyer about the trust. Be careful." 4 days later, I got a letter from the family attorney. It was addressed to me and the trustee of my grandmother's estate. Subject line: reevaluation of trust disbursement. My grandmother had left a small trust, $50,000 split between me and my siblings. It was supposed to pay out on my 30th birthday. That was 6 months away. The letter said my mother had raised concerns about my financial instability and hoarding behavior. She'd submitted photographs of my apartment as evidence, photographs of my closet. The letter said the trustee was considering whether I could manage assets responsibly. That same night, the family group chat exploded. My brother posted a picture of my closet with the caption, "When thrifting becomes a mental health crisis." 12 laughing emojis. My sister replied, "I'm genuinely worried about her." I sat on my bed, staring at the racks of dresses I loved, the clothes I'd spent 12 years carefully curating. I wondered if they were right. My best friend called. "Do you still have that binder?" she asked. I looked at the shelf. "Yeah, then use it." I had the documentation, but would anyone believe me against them? I felt like the punchline to a joke I never agreed to tell. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I opened my laptop and found the stylist's business card. I sent an email at 2 a.m. Hi, I'm the woman from the engagement party in the navy dress. You mentioned it was vintage Dior. Would you be willing to put that in writing? She replied in 6 hours. I'd be happy to. I already sent your photos to a colleague at Sotheby's. Call me. We talked for an hour. 2 days later, I received a formal appraisal letter on her firm's letterhead. I read it 3 times. My hands were shaking. The dress was a 1954 Christian Dior cocktail dress from the Muguet line. Conservatively valued at $18,000. She'd included comparable auction sales. Provenance research. Condition notes. At the bottom, she'd written, I'd love to connect you with our textile specialist if you're considering sale or donation. I opened my purchase log. September 2019. Estate sale. $22. I took a photo of the letter and saved it in a new folder on my desktop. I labeled it Evidence. Then I looked at my closet. 1 dress down. I had 47 more hanging in that so-called hoard. The stylist's assistant made a mistake. She mentioned the appraisal to someone at the party planning company. Word got back to my mother in less than a week. I was at work when my phone rang. I let it go to voicemail. If you bought stolen goods, that's on you, my mother said. Her voice was ice. We're protecting the family name. Don't drag us into your mess. 2 hours later, I got a call from the police. An officer asked if I'd be willing to come in and make a statement about the dress. My mother had filed a report claiming I might have stolen family heirlooms. I had to explain thrift store purchases to a cop who looked completely confused. I showed him my receipt. He made a photocopy and sent me home. That weekend, my sister's fiancé posted a thread on Twitter. He didn't name me, but everyone knew. Family drama is wild when someone fakes vintage receipts to get clout. It got 40,000 likes. People I hadn't seen since high school were messaging me screenshots. Then the trust lawyer called. The hearing was scheduled. 30 days out, my mother was demanding I submit to a psychiatric evaluation or lose my claim entirely. I had 30 days to prove I wasn't a thief, a liar, or unstable. So I called in a professional. I hired a certified luxury appraiser. She came to my apartment on a Saturday morning with a jeweler's loupe, a camera, and a tablet. She walked into my closet. Stopped. Said nothing for a full minute. Then she turned to me. Do you know what you have here? We spent 8 hours going piece by piece. She photographed labels, examined seams, cross-referenced auction databases. The report arrived 3 days later as a bound document. I flipped to the summary page and almost dropped it. 49 authenticated pieces spanning 1948 to 1989. Dior, Chanel, Balenciaga, Givenchy, Yves Saint Laurent. Total insured value, $287,000. Every single piece was documented. Purchase receipt, provenance research, condition photos. At the end, she'd added a personal note. This is one of the finest private mid-century collections I've encountered. Please consider climate-controlled storage. I pulled out my binder and did the math. Total spent over 12 years. $1,683. I scanned the report, saved it, emailed a copy to my own attorney with the subject line, Counter Evidence for Trust Hearing. They called me a hoarder. I called it a $250,000 portfolio. My attorney did something I didn't ask her to do. She ran a routine asset check on the family business. She called me at 7 a.m. You need to see this, she said. She sent me a filing from the county recorder's office. My mother and brother had taken out a line of credit, $340,000, against the company my grandfather built. They'd listed my grandmother's trust as phantom collateral. Estimated value, $120,000. They were 3 months behind on payments. I scrolled through my brother's Instagram. A new Tesla 2 months ago, a Rolex last month, a trip to Santorini 3 weeks ago. All of it on credit they couldn't cover. My sister's wedding venue alone was $80,000. The mockery wasn't about taste. It was about money they didn't have. The social media attacks, the psychiatric evaluation, the hoarding narrative, all of it was designed to justify one thing: taking my $50,000 share of the trust to cover their payments and keep up appearances. I sat in my quiet apartment, surrounded by $287,000 in vintage couture I'd bought for pocket change, and I whispered out loud, they weren't protecting the family name. They were buying time. Now I knew exactly what to do. I called my attorney back. File 3 motions before the hearing, I said. I want everything on record before they can move another dollar. She drafted them that afternoon. Motion 1, freeze all trust disbursements pending a fraud investigation. Motion 2, Demand a full accounting of the credit line and the use of the trust as collateral. Motion 3. Submit my appraisal and 12 years of purchase records as evidence of financial competence and asset management. No threats, no drama, just paperwork. Then I made a second call. The Regional Fashion Museum had contacted me a year earlier about a potential donation. I'd said no. I wasn't ready. Now I was. I scheduled a meeting with the curator for the following week. I have a collection I'd like you to see, I said. I blocked my family on every social platform. I changed my locks. I bought a locking garment rack and had it installed in my bedroom. I didn't post anything. Didn't send any messages. I just waited. The hearing was in 9 days. I spent them getting ready. Not for a courtroom. For a runway. I didn't need to fight loud. I just needed to fight smart. The trust hearing was in a small conference room on the 3rd floor of the county courthouse. It was standing room only. My mother arrived with my brother and sister. Their attorney carried 2 briefcases. They looked confident. I sat alone at the other table with my lawyer. The trustee opened the hearing and asked my mother's attorney to present her concerns. He stood up and spent 10 minutes talking about hoarding, instability, irresponsible behavior. He projected the photos of my closet on the screen. This is not the behavior of someone who can manage a $50,000 inheritance responsibly. The trustee looked at me. Do you have a response? My attorney stood. We do. She connected her laptop to the projector. The first slide was the appraisal letter, certified, authenticated, 49 pieces, $287,000. The room went completely silent. My attorney clicked to the next slide. My purchase log, 12 years of receipts, $18, $35, $12, $50. My client didn't hoard junk, she said. She built a curated investment portfolio using skill, research, and discipline. She clicked again. The credit line filing, $340,000. My grandmother's trust listed as collateral without legal authority. My mother's lawyer tried to object. The trustee held up a hand. Let her finish. My attorney showed the payment delinquency, 3 months behind. Then my brother's Instagram, Tesla, Rolex, Santorini. This isn't about my client's competence, my attorney said. It's about a cash flow problem they're trying to solve with her inheritance. The trustee reviewed the documents for 4 minutes. Then he looked at my mother. Did you use this trust as collateral without trustee approval? My mother's attorney whispered something to her. She didn't answer. The trustee made his ruling on the spot. All trust disbursements frozen. Independent audit ordered. Fraud investigation referred to the county district attorney. My mother walked out without looking at me. That evening at 6 o'clock, the museum posted a press release. Hidden Treasures, a private collection of mid-century couture. Opening in September. Featuring loans and donations from a local collector. My name was in the second paragraph. My phone didn't stop buzzing for 3 hours. My brother's Tesla got repossessed the following Tuesday. My sister postponed the wedding indefinitely. The independent audit took 6 weeks. It found that my mother and brother had misused $89,000 from the trust over 3 years. Payments to themselves, unapproved loans, personal expenses listed as estate costs. The trustee gave them 2 options: full repayment within 12 months or criminal charges. They sold the family business at a loss. My brother moved in with a friend. My mother downsized to a condo outside the city. My sister's engagement ended quietly. No announcement. Just a returned ring and deleted photos. I received my full share of the trust. $50,000, plus $17,000 in legal fees and damages. $67,000 total. I donated 12 pieces from my collection to the museum. I sold 6 others at auction for $74,000. Then I did something my grandmother would have loved. I used the money to open a consultancy, Legacy Authentication Services, a 6-month program teaching low-income women and non-binary folks how to identify, authenticate, and invest in vintage couture. Sliding scale fees. Some students paid $5 a session. Some paid $50. I named the scholarship fund after my grandmother. The museum exhibit opened on a Thursday in September. I wore a 1962 Balenciaga cocktail dress. Bought it for $9 at an estate sale in 2017. I stood in front of a glass case holding the Dior dress that started everything. The curator stood beside me. 3 of my students flew in from across the state. My mother sent a text that night. Can we talk? I read it. I smiled. I put my phone away. No reply. There was no reconciliation. No apology. No family reunion. But there was also no bitterness. Just boundaries and peace. and a new chapter built on something they could never take from me. My grandmother taught me that real wealth isn't what you show off. It's what you know, and no one can take that from you. So here's my question for you. Have you ever found something valuable that others overlooked? In a thrift store, in yourself, in your family? Drop your story in the comments below. And if you believe that knowledge is the best inheritance, hit subscribe. I've got more receipts to share. This story is a fictionalized dramatization and is not legal or financial advice. But the lesson is real. Value isn't loud. It just is.